It is race number 32, the final race of the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season, and it's here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the running of the NAPA 500. This is the race that will crown a champion between two Joe Gibbs Racing teammates, Mathis and Chris Jericho. Just 9 points separates them, and JRTV is here for all the action in the finale race, and we'll see which of those Joe Gibbs Racing drivers comes out as champion after 65 laps of action around the newly reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia. I'm Jericho here to bring you flag-to-flag coverage of the finale race of the 2002 season, where a thrilling championship battle will come to a conclusion. Joe Gibbs Racing teammates have come alive as of late in the season, and here they are, just 9 points separate them in the battle for the championship. The one on top is Chris Jericho, winner of last season's championship, where he had a dominant season with an average finish of around 10th place. This season has been so much difference in terms of what he saw last season, where he struggled. At one point was over 500 points behind the points leader. However, in the second half of the season, he rallied. He's won 2 of the last 4 races, and here he is with a shot at the championship, enters as the points leader, the very opposite position he was in last season. The one chasing him down is his teammate Mathis, who ended up 3rd in the points last season with a very, very explosive season, just like Brett Sierra and Chris Jericho, but he didn't have the consistency to fit the mold of champion. This season, much like his teammate, he struggled throughout the midpoint. However, back-to-back wins at Pocono, Michigan reignited this race team, and he ended up rising through the points, getting more wins at Darlington and then at Rockingham, moving him into the point seed with a shot at the championship. He's faltered a little bit as of late. However, he's still with a shot at the championship, 9 points back, and he starts higher than Chris Jericho here today. We'll have to see which one of those teammates can come out on top for the championship. But other than the championship, there are some more big storylines that could come from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, such as our pole sitter Keyshawn Richardson claiming his 3rd pole of the season, and he's looking for the series most 6th win of the season. We'll see if Richardson can get it done here today in Hampton, Georgia, and if he has a good performance, he could move in to 3rd in the points. The man who is 3rd in points trying to chase him down is Jordan Stout, homegrown hero Jordan Stout from the Atlanta area here in Georgia. He'll start in 5th place here today with a shot to try and get one final victory to end out the season. Remember, he got DQ'd after his win at Homestead, dropping him 180 points behind everyone that he had just gained on. He enters this race 216 points back, mathematically eliminated from the championship. However, if that Homestead DQ did not happen, Jordan Stout would have one realistic shot at this championship. So, he is hungry for a victory here in Atlanta to prove that without that DQ, he might be the one with the championship trophy at the end of the season. And sandwiched between them on the racetrack and between the midpoints is Sebastian Kukulon in the number 29. Kukulon won here earlier in the season, however, that was under the old oval configuration of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now we have a quad oval configuration here in Hampton, Georgia. Kukulon starts in 3rd place, looking for the Atlanta sweep here in 2002 with a team that has so much success at Atlanta, with drivers like Trey Bardo and Conrad Evans, who won here in 2000. We'll have to see if Kukulon can try and get that sweep and possibly move himself into 3rd in the point standings. And then just starting outside the top 10 is Matthew Burnett in the 17 car. The only Roush Racing driver not yet to win this season, but he might have a shot at it. Last week, it was heartbreak for him at North Wilkesboro, where he dominated the race but lost it on green flag pit stops where issues arose, knocking him outside of the top 30 to finish. Burnett is back hungry for one victory in this season. He definitely does not want to be the one Roush Racing driver to not have a victory in that wins column. We'll have to see if Burnett can get it done from the 11th starting spot here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Inspection issues after qualifying also played havoc in how the running order would be set for the start of the race here at Atlanta. First, it was Nolan Lawrence that failed inspection number 19. He was set to start in 15th, he's set to start in 13th. He'll now start back in 42nd place, right where he started last season when he got to victory lane in this very race. Joining him failing inspection was Justin Atkins in the number 30. Atkins was set to start in 15th place. He'll now start in the 40th position in that number 30 car. He'll have to come from the back of the field to try and get it done. And also, Eli Bright in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet was set to start inside the top 3 in 3rd place. However, he failed inspection as well. He drops all the way back from 3rd to 41st. He'll have to try and move his way through the field to have a shot at the race victory in the final race of the 2002 season at Atlanta. But that was not only big for Eli Bright's race chances, but also big for the 2 championship frontrunners. Mathis and Chris Jericho were set to start on the inside lane for this race. However, after Eli's inspection failure, they move up to the outside lane in 6th and 10th place. We'll have to see if Wells and Jericho can find a way down in line, and how long will it take them to find a way down in line. If it takes too long, could one be in front of the other? Like Jericho, could he try and find a way to get by Mathis Wells and get a lot of cars between them? Or will they stay together throughout this whole race and make that championship battle oh so close down to the final laps here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway? For the final time this season, let's take a look at our Ford Fast Facts here for the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is a beautiful October day for racing in the finale of the season. Clear sunny skies, 71 degrees for the temperature, only 2 miles an hour wind in the southwest direction, and a very small % chance of rain here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This race is 65 laps in length, 100.1 miles, and the fuel window can go just past the midpoint at 34 to 37 laps, so watch for that as we get into the race. If it stays green, when do those drivers make the move down the pit road? We're expecting high tire wear throughout this race, maybe pitting early, pitting right when you know you can make it on fuel. That could be the difference in who wins this race. This track is 1.54 miles in length with 24 degrees of banking in the turns and 5 degrees on the straights. The track was opened in 1960, held its first race here in 1981. However, this is the first NASCAR Winston Cup Series race on the quad oval configuration. Remember, earlier this season, they raced on the just pure oval configuration. Now they have the quad oval in it. We know those quad oval tracks like Texas and Lowe's, they could be very, very exciting and very, very chaotic. Will Atlanta be just the same as that? This track a little bit wider, though, than those racetracks, and this is the 8th straight season that Atlanta has hosted the finale race. We'll have to see how this finale comes out. The last two have been so thrilling, with the driver who entered second in points in the last 2 seasons coming up from behind to win the championship in 2000 and 2001. We'll see how it goes this season in 2002. Can Wells find a way around Jericho, or can the 2001 champion go back-to-back in the Winston Cup Series? It will be an exciting one for sure here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's go down trackside, fire the cars up for the championship race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Start your engines.
"42 cars fire up, they're rolling at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the NAPA 500 in the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series finale. In 6th place is Mathis Wells. 4 wins this season, including 2 of the last 6. Wells enters 9 points back of the championship points lead. However, he's going to try and get it done here today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, as both Joe Gibbs Racing drivers have had equal success as of late in the season. Mathis Wells could be the one to come out on top in this championship fight this season in 2002. And then 2 rows behind him, his teammate and championship rival Chris Jericho enters as the points leader. He was at one point over 500 points back of the points leader in the middle portion of this season. However, he put his head down and has won 2 of the last 4 races, including victories at Lowe's and then victory last week at North Wilkesboro. It's got him into the points lead by just 9 points over Mathis Wells. That is at most 3 positions on this racetrack. Jericho knows he has to try and find a way down in line, get to the front, try and get those laps led bonus points, and see if he can try and claim his 2nd straight championship to become only the 2nd driver behind Trey Bardo to win back-to-back championships in the Winston Cup Series. But other than that, there's a great race on hand with Keyshawn Richardson, Conrad Evans on the front row, and the green flag is waving in the finale at Atlanta. Down the back straightaway already, Mathis Wells has gotten low. DeLello did not get a good start. Wells got down in line. He's 3rd on the inside. Jericho's in middle of 3, further back of the pack. Sebastian Kukulon takes the lead on lap 1. He'll lead the first lap of the NAPA 500. And Jericho's still stuck on the outside, nowhere to go. And here comes Mathis Wells, 3 wide to the bottom into turn number 1. Wells being aggressive early on, trying to get those laps led bonus points. Got a little tight down low, though. He had to lift, and behind them, they're looking 4 wide. Jericho backed out on the outside. That could have been very bad for his championship chances. But he's up top 3 and still dropping back. Not what Jericho needed on the start of this one. Up in front, Fitzwater getting aggressive with the Burnett. Evan Hunter trying to move low in the 36. Zeidel's back low. Lord Chung with Anthony Hernandez. They're moving forward. Kukulon, Stout, Wells, 1, 2, 3. They're clear out in front. Jericho still backing up on the outside. Can't find a way down in line. Still up top 3 wide and can't get down in line. Wells being aggressive up there. You can see him right there pushing Stout to try and get by Sebastian Kukulon. Jericho still up top 3 wide. Mathis Wells is looking on Stout. Stout's looking on Kukulon. No move made. Jericho still up top 3. Battle for the lead is on. Jordan Stout trying to take it. The 6 to the inside, the 29 in turns 1 and 2. 4 wide again back there. Jericho's going to back out of it again. Stout Kukulon side by side. Mathis Wells watching on, hoping those two slow each other down. He could try a slingshot 3 wide move for 5 bonus points. Off of the quarter, Jordan Stout with the lead on lap number 4. Completion of 4, down to lap 5. Mathis Wells to second place. Zachary DeLello for third. Kukulon on the outside with Anthony Hernandez looking to the middle. Hernandez getting a nice run on Sebastian Kukulon. Laura Chung, Evan Hunter coming up nicely as well in the 9 and the 36. Jericho's down in line behind Nat Tuck, but he's all the way back around 30th place. That number 18 has work to do to try and move his way through the field to get to his teammate Mathis Wells and gain those points back. Remember, he has to finish near him. 9 points isn't a lot, but he does have some insurance. He doesn't have to beat him here today as long as Wells doesn't go up there and get the most laps led bonus points. So far, he hasn't gotten a lap led yet, but that car looks pretty strong in that second position. Equally as strong as his number 1 of Anthony Hernandez. Got a run. Didn't have it couldn't stabilize right there on the corner exit. Hernandez gets back in line in 4th place. Battle for 5th is on. Lord Chung has it. Here comes Evan Hunter to the bottom. He wants it in that MB2 Motorsports number 36 car. Think about the last 2 seasons in the finale race. The winner of the race has gotten their first victory of the season. Riley Springton in 2000. Chung's teammate now, Nolan Lawrence, did it last season for Hoscar Motorsports, and maybe someone could do it this season for their respective team. Right now, Evan Hunter inside the top 5. Tim Gary, Hunter's teammate, is moving up and just announced that Gary has a contract extension to stay with MB2 for the next 2 seasons, so I'm sure that team very thrilled with that because Gary is one heck of a wheelman, and we know he can get it done on these racetracks. Jericho slowly up to now 23rd place. Battle for 3rd place. Anthony Hernandez to the inside, Zachary DeLello as they race off 2 and down the back straightaway. Hernandez going to try and take it away through 3 and 4 on the bottom of the racetrack. And he'll take it DeLello really wide, and the 1 is clear. Mathis Wells pressuring Jordan Stout as they work through 3 and 4. He's peeking. Look at the run he got off turn number 4. He's right there on Stout. He'll look for the pass at turn 1. Mathis Wells going for the lead at Atlanta. Can he complete it? We see on the bottom lane it gets a little tight down there. The 6 might get wound up on the top, but Wells got a great run. Door to door with Stout down the back straightaway. Here comes Anthony Hernandez trying to be aggressive in that number 1 car. Looking lower on both of them. Mathis Wells, though, is clear. He's going to try and get around for those 5 bonus points, and he'll accomplish it. Wells gets 5 points in the bank for leading that lap here at Atlanta. That's crucial. Now can he try and stay out front for the most laps led bonus points? Jericho to the top, 20s through to 18th. Hernandez for 2nd on Jordan Stout. The front few have gotten away. How about Riley Spurley moving through the field? As mentioned, won this race back in 2000. Right behind him in her final start for Chip Ganassi Racing, Sarah Kirchner being aggressive in that number 40 car. She's looking for a run inside the top 10, top 5 here today. Behind them 3 wide. Evans is looking on Laura Chung and Hunter Reed. And here comes Justin Atkins with a big run on Chris Jericho. The 18 was moving up, but now might get put to the middle of 3 as Atkins with the big run, but Jericho gets a nice run through the middle, but Fitzwater might slow him up in the number 2 car. Jericho needs to try and find a way down in front of that number 30. Atkins still fights to the inside. If it wasn't for the 2, I think Jericho easily clears the 30 down the back straightaway. Now he can get him behind him. That's the only saving grace there. Back up to the front. Evan Hunter looked for a pass on DeLello as Anthony Hernandez makes the pass on Mathis Wells. And the number 1 moves to the lead here at Atlanta. Evan Hunter going for 3rd place on DeLello again. That 36 looks pretty good. That number 1 looks even better. Hernandez being aggressive. Wells coming back on him. Mathis Wells, even though the battle was not with the one car, he wants to lead every lap that he can this race, try for those 5 bonus points for the most laps led, because then he knows he gets 10 points automatically, which is 1 point more than he needs to try and pass Chris Jericho in the points. Hunter moved to 3rd place, but that might be short-lived. Here comes Sebastian Kukulon coming back to the front. Jordan Stout with him on the bottom of the racetrack, as everyone tries to find a way to get towards the front of the field. Jordan Stout going to make 3 wide move into turns 3 and 4. Puts Kukulon in the middle and Evan Hunter all the way to the top in the 36. Sarah Kirchner moving up very nicely in that number 40 car as they race very aggressively in front of her. Here she is. She was one of the 5 fastest cars in practice, and now she's showing that pace here in the race. That 40 looks pretty good. Look at her to the inside of Evan Hunter. That car looks like it can run the middle, can run the bottom. And how about right behind her, Nathan Ormond, making his final start for Haas-Car Motorsports, moving over to Bill Davis Racing at the end of the season. Nathan Ormond inside the top 10 here. So we know Haas-Car Motorsports, they have fast cars here. Nolan Lawrence won this race last season, and Ormond has come to play here today at Atlanta, up inside the top 10 early on in this race. So far, caution-free through the first 14 laps. Jericho is up to 12th place. He's now leading Zidell up to Conrad Evans, but the 24 better rotation is looking lower down the back straightaway. He got a great run off turn number 2. Jericho can't complete the pass. No, the 24 is still there. So Jericho, he got clear right there, had a shot to try and gain some time, but now he's going to lose some position. Zidell's going around. Fitzwater's going around the 2 with a nice run on 24 Zidell. Good run through the field for Eli Bray. As mentioned, started on the last row because he failed inspection. Eli's already up inside the top 15 now in the battle with Matthew Burnett. We had seen Atkins have moved forward in the number 30, but he's dropped back since then. He was another driver that started at the back of the field. Nolan Lawrence hasn't been able to make as much progress as he's probably wanted in that number 19 as Jericho. Trying to get clear of Eli Brett with a run off the top of turn number 4. We'll see if he can try and complete that down into turn 1. Looks like Eli maybe breathe the throttle a little bit to try and give him room and let Jericho breathe a little bit right there. So he only lost a few positions, but obviously you don't want to lose too much here. You want to try and maintain touch with that number 20 car, who's still up there leading laps. But here comes Hernandez in that number 1 car. Anthony Hernandez not going to be denied, trying to get another win on the season. And Hernandez will move out in front once again here at Atlanta. And here comes Jordan Stout with a nice run, big run to the inside. Mathis Wells into turn 1 for 2nd place. Now for 5th back there, Tim Gary moving low. Jay Randall in his final start for Hendrick Motorsports. And that number 48 car trying to get Hendrick their 2nd victory of the season and his 2nd victory of the season. Randall so far running very competitively here at Atlanta. Kukulon up the track in the 29 car. I don't know if he's trying to see if that outside lane works or if he just got tight and ended up out there. Obviously the tires starting to wear out as well as we're 18 laps into this race. So the longer we go under the green flag, the worse these tires can go. They could fall off by up to 2 seconds a lap by the end of a green flag run here. Wells still hanging tough on the outside. Stout can't really make it work on the bottom. Here comes Tim Gary, a big slingshot run to the inside, that number 10 car. He's got to try and help Jordan Stout out. Oh, Kukulon, he going to force it 3 wide in the middle, put Wells up top. I think he backed out to let Wells in line, but that could have been a big move. Jay Randall's going to force it 3 wide for 3rd place, though. Number 48 car to the inside lane. A little bit slower to the corner, though. He's going to lift and let Gary in line in 3rd place, but Wells still stuck on the outside and is going backwards towards his teammate and championship competitor, Chris Jericho. As they battle for these positions, and Wells tries to find a way down in line. Our Advanced Auto Parts question of the week from last week, the final one of the season, we had asked, who do you think is going to win the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series Championship? And over 50% of the votes said that it would go the way of the 2001 champion, Chris Jericho. At the moment, it's going Mathis Wells' way, but there's still lots of racing left here at Atlanta, still 45 to go. Wells in line in 5th place, Jericho in 14th, but they're still in the lead draft and still with a shot at it. Speaking of the lead draft, Anthony Hernandez, he has the lead, but Jordan Stout the last few laps has run him down, and as he's been running the 1 down, Jay Randall and Tim Gary have been running the front 2 down. Randall looks like he might be the fastest car on the racetrack, and that number 48 has some speed underneath it. Stout with the look, but didn't make it work on Hernandez. Randall with the look on Gary. Might get the nose to the inside of the number 10 car with a run down the back straightaway. See Jericho back there. There's 2 wide in front of him. He really needs them to sort that out. Otherwise, Wells could try and stay up here and pull away. Hernandez still holding off Stout for now. That number 1 being very aggressive. And, I mean, might these two come down to blows? Remember, last race at North Wilkesboro, contact on pit road. The 6 hit the 1 car on pit road. Hernandez fell a lap down because of that. It really just compromised his race. He never was able to compete after that for the race victory. Well, here they are now battling at Atlanta for the race lead. They're 3 wide further back, and Jericho's in the middle in the number 18 car. He's not been getting many breaks here today. He passed Alelo there, but Eli Bright, I don't know if he just got a run that he had to take or what, but Jericho now slipping back, and Mathis Wells inside the top 5 in this front group in the battle for the lead. So Stout got by Hernandez cleanly. Gary's in line in 3rd place. Rando right now 4th in the battle with Mathis Wells. Then Evan Hunter right back there. Justin Zidell and Chris Jericho. Look at that. Lost even more ground. He got put up top 3 wide. Keyshawn Richardson, Hunter Reed, Matt Tuck all go by. And here comes DeLello looking even lower on the 18 car. Yeah, it's just not been a consistent race for Chris Jericho. It looks like that car is fast, but at points I don't know if it's just not handling well in traffic or if he's making some slight mistakes. But there are just some laps where he loses it. Eli Bright still continuing his march through the field, going for a top 10 spot here. A few cars in front of him. Sarah Kirchner still inside the top 10 to battle with Zachary Fitzwater Sr. for those spots. Gary for 2nd place on Anthony Hernandez. Mathis Wells still working over Jay Rando as we come to 40 laps to go to Atlanta. So far, Mathis Wells would be the Winston Cup Series champion. But once again, lots of racing to go here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as Stout leads the race. Wells in line in 5th, Hunter in 6th. The front 6 have gotten away. Zidell in 7th, Kirchner in 8th, Orman 9th, Balfour 10th is Fitzwater, and Sebastian Kukulon. Kukulon with a nice run to the inside for the top 10. Now take it away from that number 2. Here comes Eli Bright. 1 step closer inside the top 10. He's now 12th. He's getting a nice push from Hunter Reed there, who may have actually gotten into the back of him. I think the 8 checked up a little bit more than the 45 was thinking, and there may have been some contact there. Jericho again up top as Roberto Crown Jr. looks to the inside of the 43 car. The 18 might lose even more spots here. It's just not been. This first round of the race has not been what Jericho needs. I'm wondering how aggressive could they be on pit strategy here, because we're coming up to the midway point. Do they dare try to pit as soon as they know they can make it? Because at this point, him being stuck back in 19th, there's no way he can get up to Wells unless the 20 has horror on pit road. We'll have to watch and see. The battle for a second still going on. Gary had taken it from Anthony Hernandez. Hernandez takes it back, and Rando's going to take 3rd from Tim Gary. Hunter looking on Wells. That battling has brought Zidell, Kirchner, Ormond into the fight. The front 9. Then 10th place Kukulon, 11th Fitzwater. Bright in 12th, losing touch with the front 11 for now. This battling still going on, and here's Jericho back to now 19th place as his championship competitor Mathis Wells runs inside the top 5 in the 5th position. There's Wells in the battle with Evan Hunter for 5th and 6th. Hunter sends it in deep. Sarah Kirchner coming back in the number 40 car. That's what's been great to see so far here today at this new Atlanta racetrack. You know, we're used to seeing the pack style racing, which is great to see some different drivers and different faces at the front of the field. But even here today, the pack gets strung out. There's still been different faces at the front. I mean, we have a Roush car, a DEI car, Hendrick car, MB2, then a JGR car, Chip Ganassi racing car, Haas Carter Motorsports, RCR, Penske. It's been all over the place in terms of the teams at the front of the field. So it's definitely still been a very entertaining race, even though they're not as packed together as they have been in years past. Battle for 2nd place as we come around to complete the 30th lap. Hernandez has it. Randall wants it in the number 48 car. And Gary watching on in 4th place into turns 1 and 2. These guys kind of slowing up the battling as well. It's helped them close back in on Jordan Stout as they pulled away from the battle behind. Wells got put up the racetrack by Evan Hunter. Hunter's going to move through to 5th with Sarah Kirchner coming for 6th place and maybe even 5th for herself. Nathan Orman dives to the bottom in the 66. Kirchner to the top 5 in the number 40. But they've let the front 4 get really far away, so we now completed 31 laps. Pit stops are looming around the corner. Remember, midway point, completion of lap 33. You know you can make it from there. Does anyone dare come in soon? Mathis Wells going to get in line. He lost some spots, but a lot better than falling back to where Chris Jericho is. He's fine where he is right now. Kukulon's going to fill the hole to the bottom, though. Jericho's going for a pass back there on Roberto Crown Jr. Exceed the 18, but the tires are starting to wear out, so it's a little bit harder to make passes if you don't set it up right. Wells back clear for Kukulon. Use the draft from Evan Hunter to get back clear. Next time by, the pit window is open. We'll complete lap 33. Does anyone dare come down the pit lane? Good battle for 10th and 11th. Fitzwater and Justin Zeidel. At the front, Stout still leads over Hernandez, Rando, and Gary. But does anyone short pit? Get the tires sooner. Kukulon again, looking for a pass on Mathis Wells. At the front, Rando looking for a late pass on Anthony Hernandez to try and steal second away before pit stops. This could actually set up the one strategy. If you wanted to pit this next lap, if he's not in line, he won't be able to unless he wants to try something crazy. So, could force the hand right here. Looks like the 6 and the 48. The two of our front runners are coming down pit lane early. The 1 and the 10 will stay out. How about Mathis Wells? He's pitting now. What does Chris Jericho do? He'll stay out. So he'll try and catch a yellow or just get the tires later. So he's going to do the opposite of his teammate. He knows just following his teammate would probably lose him that championship. So he's going to try and stay out later and see what happens from there. Anthony Hernandez, Tim Gary, they've stayed out. In first and second, Kirchner, Orman, Hunter have also stayed out. But you have to assume that many of these drivers will be in this time. Here comes the 1 and the others. Does anyone stay out even longer? Maybe Eli Bright. Eli Bright is staying out. Yepez, Matthew Burnett. So these guys right here, they're on the strategy of pray a yellow flag comes out. Trap people lap down. I mean, it could happen. We've seen in the past with pit road and merging and whatnot. So Eli Bright, Yepez, Burnett, Roger Ray, Laura Chung, Jordan Edwards, Nolan Lawrence, Mitchell Collins, all on that strategy. Jordan Stout leaves in front with Jay Randall behind him. These race leaders are expected to come in this lap. The 8, the 44, 17 and 55, the 9, the 8-3, the 19, and the 12. There's the 6, the 48. There's Mathis Wells, right with Zachary Fitzwater Sr. So where will Jericho cycle out in relation to that? Here comes the 48. A big run on Jordan Stout. This will be for the lead after pit stop cycle through. The 48 is by the 6 now. Rando out in front of Atlanta. There's some cars leaving pit road. Anthony Hernandez, I think, was the first man on that strategy. So Rando and Stout have pulled away now in a big way. There's Mathis Wells. Jericho's further back. Can the 18 use a lap fresher tires to try and gain these spots back? It's going to have to come from a good ways back now, though. See Max Davis back there, the 6-7-1. The first car's on pit road. He left up a lot of positions. 2 cars go at it. Evan Hunter on Tim Gary. There's Nathan Orman. He cycled out in a pretty good position as well. Yepez got credit with that lap on pit road as he now leaves with Eli Bright. Here's a good battle. This will be for third place. Sarah Kirchner has third. Mathis Wells is in fourth, going for third place. Fitzwater and Hernandez are also up here. The front two are Jay Randall and Jordan Stout. They have a comfortable margin over the rest of the field. There's the gap. That's a huge gap. 37 laps complete here at Atlanta. The gap between the top two and third place is about 3 seconds. Now Mathis Wells holds down in third. Jericho is in 13th. So in all that, he actually gained some spots. Whether it be because the congestion on pit road was too great for some of the guys that pitted at different times, but Jericho's around 17th when he came down the pit lane. He's now 13th. The only problem is that Mathis Wells didn't fall back like he wanted him to, and Wells is still up in third place. Jericho really needs to gain a lot of spots here. We know Wells has gotten 5 bonus points because he's led a lap here today. The most laps led bonus points probably won't go his way. However, those 5 bonus points, if Jericho can somehow get up by a lot of these guys and get up there, who knows? You can see Hunter Reed being aggressive. These fresh tires, you can be very aggressive. 3 wide on Zeidel and Gary. And Jericho, if he was just a little bit closer to this battle, he'd have the draft and he'd be gaining. But the 18 is kind of falling back to the 28 and the 8 back there. Yeah, because he just doesn't have the draft to get up here. Hunter being aggressive with the Roberto Crown Jr. battle for 7th and 8th. Stout goes and backing on Jay Rando. That battle for the lead. Rando just got his tires up to temp a little bit better, and Stout now starting to come back, though. Hunter, through to 7th. 8th place is battle between the Petty cars, Hunter Reed and Roberto Crown Jr., which this team has really been on fire to end out the season, and excited to see what they can do as they fall down to a 2-car organization next season, have more resources for their cars. That could be an exciting team to watch next season. Jericho getting passed by Riley Spurgeon and Eli Bright. The 18 just does not have it here today. He would need a problem from his teammate Mathis Wells, which at the moment is unlikely to happen as the field is strung out, and those Joe Gibbs cars have been ultra reliable this season. So Jericho now back to 15th place as Spurgeon and Bright have gotten around, and the 18 is struggling. You can see right there, he lost so much ground to them in just that one corner, and those two are gaining on that pack. And that's where Jericho, if that car was good enough, he could latch onto the 8, the 28, and that pack is running down these drivers like Wells and them. Because Hunter's running some pretty good laps, but now Hunter Reed's passing the 36, so those good laps aren't going to help now. This is the battle, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Hunter Reed, Evan Hunter, Roberto Crown Jr., Tim Gary. Reed now through to that spot. His teammate Roberto Crown Jr. falls through to 8th place. Gary to 9th by his teammate Evan Hunter. You have to give a shout out to both the MP2 cars for showing up to race here today. They've put in 2 really fast race cars. Mathis Wells back to 4th, but that's just fine in terms of his quest for the championship because his championship competitor, Chris Jericho, stuck back in the 15th position. Nowhere really to go for Jericho at this point in time. Some drivers that maybe start up a little bit higher up that haven't really raced all that well. Keegan Thompson, Laura Chung are back here. Lathan Strickland, Keyshawn Richardson from pole all the way back in 34th. Nolan Lawrence had to start at the back but hasn't moved up like we were probably expecting him to. Matthew Burnett's back outside the top 25. Conrad Evans started outside the front row. He's back there. Zachary DeLulo's back outside the top 20. So a lot of big names have just not been able to race all that well here today. Well, Jericho's latched on to the 28, the 8 just enough to get by now Nathan Ormond, and those two have caught the pack. So if Wells continues to fall back in that pack, and this pack can run that secondary pack down, who knows? We could still have a fight for the championship if the 18 can stay in touch and keep on the bottom lane instead of how that first run was going where he was kind of getting put up top of lines. This battle for 7th place, they need to calm it down if they want to have any shot at catching those guys in front. See Gary moving by Hunter Reed pretty easily right there. Gap for the lead tightening up every single lap. Jordan Stout still running. Jay right now down. We have under 20 laps to go here at Atlanta. Battle for 3rd, Anthony Hernandez, Mathis Wells, and Sarah Kirchner. Fitzwater a little bit further back in the 2. Then you have Gary, Hunter. See Jericho making a pass on Zidell back there. Eli Bright, Riley Spurley, 2 were flying through the field. Bright, remember, on fresher tires. So now the MB2 cars lead this pack, as Wells still staying committed to the back of that number 1 for now. As Mathis Wells runs in that 4th position, right there behind that number 1 of Anthony Hernandez, he'd be getting 165 points. Chris Jericho in 13th would be getting 124. So how about that? Gain of 21 points as they run. Wells would win the championship by just 12. But with 17 to go, it could still change. The 18 still fighting through some guys. Got by Justin Zidell. Eli Bright and some others just up the road like Hunter Reed is falling back. See Riley Spurgeon doing a really good job moving the traffic. That 28's been on it after pit stops. So is Eli Bright. Those 2 cars are maybe the best ones out here at the moment. 16 laps to go. See Riley Spurgeon going for 9th, then Eli Bright would be going for 10th. You have to remember, the 8 car started at the back of the field. Imagine how interesting this race would have been if that number 8 started where he was supposed to in 3rd place. He might be a contender for the win here today, like his teammate Anthony Hernandez, but unfortunately just has not worked out here today for Eli Bright as Mathis Wells moves back to 3rd place by Anthony Hernandez, trying to pad the cushion. 15 laps to go. Battle for the lead, still tightening up about 0.2 of a second, but Stout is gaining about a few hundredths every lap. Kirchner going for 4th on the 1 of Hernandez. Wells clear in 3rd. Fitzwater right now in a world of his own, really in 6th place. And there's Jericho. Justin Atkins coming from the back of the field, still gaining spots, going by Justin Zeidel. Jericho's through to 12th. Hunter Reed would be his next target in 11th. Riley Sprutu still making progress, moving by Evan Hunter, and then Tim Gary would be his next target. So as they run, Wells in third, getting 170 points with that. Those 5 bonus points for leading a lap earlier this race. So it'd be 170. Jericho in 12th would only be getting 127. See Riley Sprutu making the pass on Evan Hunter. Eli Bright getting right up to Evan Hunter. And he'll move to the inside. He got a great run off turn number 4. It might look for a shot on Riley Sprutu into turn 1. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. As Hunter Reed joins the battle with Chris Jericho, lurking there in the 18, trying to get whatever he can to try and get as close to his teammate Mathis Wells. You never do know. There could be an issue on the racetrack somewhere that could bring out a caution flag, but as it runs, I don't know if that's going to happen with just how spread out the field is. And it's going to be a battle between Jay Rado and Jordan Stout for the victory here at Atlanta as we have 12 laps to go. Wells in third. Fine where he is, content. And there's Jericho. That 45, Hunter Reed. As mentioned, Petty Enterprises has brought some very fast cars as of late here at Atlanta. Same story. 2 cars near the top 10. Diglia Pez also inside the top 20. And remember, he played a different strategy, so he has some fresher tires moving through the field. A lot to look forward to if you're the Petty team here for next season. A lot to look forward to if you're Robert Yates Racing, because this team has ended on quite the hot streak. Both Riley Spurley-Tube and Luke Varanian, with Spurley-Tube's running and how some of his drivers that he's up near in points, like Sebastian Kukulon not running all that well here today. He's back outside the top 15. Keyshawn Richardson's back around 30th place. Riley Spurley-Tube might be up for a top 5 position in points for Robert Yates Racing at the end of the season. How special would that be for that team and momentum to build for in the 2003 season? Spurley-Tube is up to 7th place by Tim Gary. Eli Bright is up to 8th. And then Hunter Reed will look for 9th. Gary could get kicked back to 10th, maybe even further, because here comes Jericho and Gary's teammate Evan Hunter moving in on him. Jericho's fighting desperately with under 10 to go, and Wells, clear in 3rd place. He's actually in a battle with Anthony Hernandez as they run into turn number 1. Wells is in a good position, though. I mean, he could fall behind the 40 and the 2, still be in 6th place, and he'd be getting 155 points, and then Jericho would have to finish in 8th, so Wells back to 4th. And a battle now for 5th with Kirchner. He'll get in line in front of that number 40. The 48 opening up a gap again on the 6. That's why we're focusing on this battle back here with some of the championship drivers. Jericho's gotten put to the outside again in the 18 car. As Evan Hunter got to his inside, Roberto Crown Jr. Justin Atkins filter through. And so for Jericho, there was maybe some hope with how this pack is running that number 20's pack down. But it would take a lot for Jericho. It's just not gone the way here today. As Stout continues to lose gap to Rando. With now 7 laps to go, the 48 looking for that 2nd victory of the season as he moves over to Stout's team, Roush Racing, at the end of this season. So now Jericho kicked back to 14th. But might have some more spots to gain. Justin Atkins coming from the back of the field is going 3 wide for 11th place. That number 30, that's just like the 8 car. Very, very good, and we'll have loved to see how he would have done if he started where he was supposed to in 15th. Riley Spurley-Tube's gotten to 6th. That 28 is flying. Don't count him out for the top 3 spots. Jericho's going to get 2-for-1 deal as he tries to follow Justin Atkins through. He'll definitely get the 10, probably the 43 there as well. There's Spurley. As we come around to 5 to go this time by. Hernandez 3rd, Wells 4th, Kirchner 5th, Riley Spurley-Tube in 6th is absolutely flying. Here he comes for 5th place. 5 laps to go in Atlanta. Now at the front, not really a battle. Randall holding off Stout for now. Behind them, Jericho's in 12th place. Spurley-Tube's up to 5th. Here comes Eli Bright on Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Battle for 7th and 8th. that 8 and the 28, man. I'm sure they were hoping a yellow flag would have come out just after pit stops because they would have been a joy to watch on that restart. Stout closing the gap back in with 4 to go. Spurley Tube closing the gap into 4th and 3rd. See Jericho back here still just stuck in 12th place. Can't do much at the moment. There's the front two, Rando and Stout. Once again, as it runs, Jericho's only getting 127 points. And with Wells getting those 5 bonus points, he would need him to fall back to 11th place. Now at the moment, that's just not looking likely. He might fall a few positions to the 28 or the 8 car. That would be it. 3 laps to go for Mathis Wells to be crowned champion. Riley Spurgeon gaining on for 4th place, but if I was the spotter or crew chief for the 20, I would just say let him go, get in line. You are not racing him. You are far enough ahead of your teammate for the championship. There's the 28, right up to the back of Mathis Wells, coming back around to 2 laps to go. The battle for 4th. Once again, just let him go. That's not your battle. Hunter moving on Reed. Evan Hunter on Hunter Reed with 2 laps to go. Battle for 9th and 10th. There's 4th place. Eli Bright's going for 6th on Sarah Kirchner. Wells and Kirchner holding pretty tough on the outside. Mathis keeps 4th. Kirchner though in a battle with Eli Bright side by side. Bright's going to take it through 3 and 4 this time. As Jay Rando is coming around to see the white flag at Atlanta. One final time in the NAPA 500. Rando is out in front. Here's the driver in the position for the championship. And a battle for 4th place with Riley Spurley Tube. He's going to try and keep 4th as they race through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway for Jay Rando. They made just the right adjustments on pit road for the 48 team. His final race for Hendrick Motorsports will be a race victory through turns 3 and 4. Jay Rando wins the finale of 2002 here at Atlanta, and at the line it will be Mathis Wells in 5th, but he is the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion over his teammate Chris Jericho in a crazy finale race. Jay Rando is the winner here today of the race. And Mathis Wells is the 2002 champion. What a race that was. And you know what? Even though it looked like Wells maybe had it for most of the day, you still couldn't be sure there with how some of this racing was and how the tire fall off was and how close all these drivers still were at the end. I mean, who knows if Wells got kicked to the outside at the wrong point, he could have easily lost too many positions. And this season, once again, 3rd straight season, the driver who entered as the points leader will fall victim and finish 2nd in the points. Unlike prior seasons, though, the front two in the championship got to race it out because there was no accident where the points leader got involved in, unlike the past 2 seasons. Jericho ends up in 12th place. Mathis Wells ends up in 5th here today. What a race and what a season it was for Mathis Wells. I mean, you think about that number 20 team after last season where they were oh so good really, but they just didn't have the consistency of the 18 and the 25. They finished about 500 points back of the points leader. Wells basically said, listen, we're coming back for that championship next season. We've improved every season. We think we can improve to the top level. We know Joe Gibbs Racing has what that takes. And early in the season, it didn't look like it. It looked like Joe Gibbs Racing was struggling and was not really going to be a top 5 factor at all in terms of points. You know, up here in the booth, it was like, well, maybe they can end up inside the top 10 in points if things go their way. There was one point where both drivers were outside of the top 10 in points together. However, some switch flipped around the Lowe's race, the Pocono race, the Michigan race for Mathis Wells when he went on a tear and won at Pocono, won at Michigan, and kept the consistency up throughout the summer, and then got up to the points lead. And we thought, well, Mathis Wells, he's in a pretty good position now. Then he faltered the points lead at Phoenix. Then he got it right back at Darlington with the race victory. Then he faltered at Talladega with that points lead. And then he continued to falter at Lowe's. At Kansas, he had to fight back through the field after failing inspection starting at the back of the field. He fought back to gain points on Jericho in that race instead of a race where it looked like he was going to lose points. Then he went out and won Rockingham in dominant fashion. But then at North Wilkesboro, Chris Jericho got the lucky break and won that race. But once again, Mathis Wells fought through from middle of the pack to get up into the top 10 to finish. Those races like Kansas, and like North Wilkesboro, where Wells didn't have the best of results, but hung on for what he needed to hang on to. That's what got him the championship this season, because it was still pretty close to Chris Jericho. It was within 50 points. However, Wells did what he needed to do in those races to stay close enough to where we came to Atlanta, and Mathis Wells had probably the better car than his teammate Chris Jericho here today. He ends out on top, and you also have to think, he got pretty lucky early on in the race where he was on the outside, but never spent a lap on the outside lane because he got down in line by the time they got to turn 1 in front of Zachary DeLello. Without that hole between the 97 and the car in front, who knows where Mathis Wells might fall to. Maybe he falls back with his teammate Chris Jericho, who fell way back, and you have to give props to Jericho for falling way back to about 30th place, but still moving up to make it a fight for the championship. I thought when the 18 fell back, he was all done, but he continued to claw his way through the pack and ended up with a shot at it. Unfortunately, didn't go his way, but he'll definitely take a second in points if it's to his teammate Mathis Wells, as Wells hangs on for the championship. And really, congratulations are in order for that number 20 team. What a season they had, with 14 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and 4 victories, 2 of which came in the final few races. And Mathis Wells is the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion, back-to-back for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Winston Cup Series. Who might be the team that competes with them next season? Well, maybe the finishing results might show of who might be one to play with in the 2003 season. Jay Randall comes out on top here today at Atlanta, dominating after pit stops and beating out his future teammate Jordan Stout, who has to settle for second place, but still, once again, Stout showed those championship frontrunners, if it wasn't for that DQ at Homestead, I had a realistic shot at this championship. Anthony Dennis, who had been on a drop back as of late, very, very well needed third place, and that could really help DEI as 2 cars ended up inside the top 10 here today. DEI really, really needed that. Riley Spiritu drove through the field to end up in 4th place, and I think he ends up inside the top 5 in points. What an end to the season for Robert Yates Racing, especially Riley Spiritu. Mathis Wells ends up inside the top 5, just what he needed to win the championship. Eli Bright had to come from the back of the field. He ends up in 6th. What a run for Sarah Kirchner in that Chip Ganassi Racing car. 7th place. She had very good pace here today, and in her final race for Chip Ganassi Racing ends up at the top 10. She'll move to Richard Childress Racing for the 2003 season. We'll have to see what she can do with that team next season. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. ends up in 8th. Very, very solid day for that number 2 team. Evan Hunter, MB2, brought 2 really fast cars. And how about Justin Atkins, just like Eli Bright, had to come from the back of the field. He gets a top 10. Hunter Reed, Petty Enterprises, had 3 fast cars, all of which ended up inside the top 20. Reed leads that team in 11th. Chris Jericho, 2nd in points. Not what he was looking for today. I'm sure he would have loved to battle, kind of closer to his teammate Mathis Wells and kind of battle it out with him on the racetrack. Unfortunately, it just did not work out that way. Jericho ends up in 12th. Gary in 13th. Roberto Crown Jr. Matthew Burnett comes back up for a top 15. That 17 was not really performing all that well throughout the middle portion of this race, but he really kind of came alive. Matt Tuck a top 20, Diego Pez. How about Zachary DeLello? He moved through the field. There's Roger Ray. Luke Rainer with the top 20. That 88 didn't really call his name here today, just quietly worked his way to the top 20. 2 Richard Childress cars that started 2nd and 3rd place end up 21st and 22nd. Conrad Evans, Sebastian Kukulon. Justin Zeidel was inside the top 15 there for most of the race. His car really faded late. Same with Nathan Orman, who ends up in 25th. Baby Ruiz down here started pretty decently. Laura Chung and the number 12 of Mitchell Collins also down here. Keyshawn Richardson, who entered with a shot for 3rd in points, entered 5th in points. He's going to lose that spot with this 32nd place finish. Keegan Thompson all the way down 35th. Lathan Strook at his final race for DEI, 36th as he moves over to Hendrick Motorsports. That was not the race he was looking for, especially with Napa on the hood and the Napa 500. Jordan Edwards had issues. He fell a lap down as well in the 83 car. Jamie Stanford Jr. last car on the lead lap in the number 4 car here today at Atlanta. And we look at the final points for the top few positions with Mathis Wells on top in the championship fight with his teammate Chris Jericho. What a fight it was all the way to the wire. I mean, you really couldn't ask for much better than that. We had so many drivers throughout the season where at the beginning it looked like Matthew Burnett might be the one for the championship. Then it went the way of Conrad Evans. Then it went the way of Sebastian Kukulon. Then Keyshawn Richardson, then Zachary DeLello, then Mathis Wells, and then maybe Zachary DeLello again. Then maybe Jordan Stout, then Chris Jericho, then Wells, then Jericho, and then it ended up with Mathis Wells on top in the championship. What a championship fight it was. all throughout the season, and especially in these final few races between the Joe Gibbs teammates of Mathis, Wells, and Chris Jericho. They put on one heck of a show to end it out, and the one in winner's circle in Champion Road is Mathis Wells, as he gets a top 5 result, just good enough to get that championship over his teammate Chris Jericho. Once again, congratulations to Joe Gibbs Racing and the number 20 team, and congratulations are in order for Jay Randall on his race victory. He's the only driver to win for Hendrick this season. He gets 2 victories, Watkins Glen and now here at Atlanta. And what a season it was here on JRTV. The 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series did not disappoint. Hope you enjoyed all the coverage this season on JRTV of the 32 races. And this season is all about Mathis Wells, the champion for the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season here on JRTV.